Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're not fishing, we're at home making rigs. So I thought I'd do a video on something that's got very popular over the past few years in the UK across beach and boat fishing, and that is the dongle rig. Using a circled hook attached to your hook link using the perfection loop, and then a braided dongle to attach your bait ready to clip onto your bait clip and cast out. What I'll do in this video, I'll show you exactly what line I use, hooks and the braid, and how I actually tied the full setup up. I'll put links in below of exactly what terminal tackle line and that I use, and I'll also show you how I bait it up. I'll be using fish baits in this video to actually attach the bait on, but if you look at my most recent video when I was at Aberthaw fishing for smoothhounds, I show exactly how I bait up a crab. So if that is something you want to see, you can go over to that video and it shows it on there as well. I put all my faith into this rig. It has completely changed my fishing. The hookup rates, especially for the rays and hounds, is just unreal. You definitely land a lot more fish using this setup. So I'll go ahead now and show you how to get started. Right, so that is what the finished result is going to look like. That's what you're going to be aiming for. So you got your hook link attached to the hook by perfection loop, and then you braid the dongle on the hook then to attach your bait. So what I'll do now, I'll show you what I use for most of my fishing. Line wise, I just use the Tronic Senna line. It's a really good line for your hook links. I use it in the 60 pound for 90% of my fishing, and I'll just go lighter and heavier if I do need to. And then the size of hooks, I use a 5/0 circle hooks. Pretty much an all-round hook, really. Great all-rounder. I do find sometimes though going it down to a 3/0 when you're fishing for the hounds, when they're smaller pack fish, I do find it hooks them a little bit better. But just for this video, I'll just use a 7/0, just so it's a bigger hook for you to see. And I'll use some brightly coloured line. Again, it's just easier for you to see when tying the knot. Right, so to tie the perfection loop, I grab a length of line holding the end of it in my right hand, and then I fold that back over itself, pinch that in between my fingers, creating the first loop. I pull that down to it's about 4 centimeters long. Then I hold the hook in that position and I slide that down the tag end, and then with the eye of the hook, then pinching that in my fingers. And then with the tag end, from the right to left, around the front of the first loop, fold it right round, creating your second loop, which you then pull a lot smaller than the first. And then the tag end goes in between the two loops that you've just made, pinching that in between your fingers again. And what that will give you is your hook running freely on that first loop. And then you get the hook, drop it through the first loop that you've made, and then pull your hook link down so it's tight, and then pop the eye of the hook through that first loop. It can be a bit fiddly, but after a few attempts you get the hang of it, and then slowly pull it down till it's just nipped, and then I wet that down, and then just pull that tight, and that is the perfection loop. Just cut that tag end off. So that's it. And you know when you've done it right, when the tag end sticks off straight from the knot. So that is the perfection loop to attach your hook. What I'll do now, I'll show you how I tie the braided dongle up ready to put on. Right, so for my dongles, I just use anything between 150 and 200 pound braid. You don't have to go anything too expensive, just any cheaper stuff really, you'll do. I'll attach a link into the description of all the stuff I use anyway, in the braid included. So what I go ahead to do first, I tie a loop in the end of the braid with a fairly small loop as well, and this is to put so this is going to be the bottom of the dongle to attach onto your bait clip. So I just tie a loop, put that through 2 times. Then I use my scissors then just to put it through that loop, just to help pull it tighter. And cut the tag off of that. Right, so that's the loop tied, so that's going to be the bottom of your dongle. And then I just go and put, as you can see in the one I've already done, I just tie a few knots going up the dongle. You don't have to go too crazy really, there's probably a few too many in that. The only purpose for the knots is so when you elasticate your bait to the dongle, it just grips the bait a slight bit better, stops the bait sliding on it at all. And to finish it, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can cut it to the length you want it, and then blob it with a lighter, and then put your hook through the braid. But myself, I tend to make a lot of my rigs while I'm fishing, just to change up rigs if I want it while I'm fishing. And most of the time, it's hard to get a lighter going to actually blob it, so with the wind. So what I do, I just basically just tie a knot and just put it through 2 or 3 times. Pull it to how long you want it, and pull that tight. The length of the dongle is completely changeable to whatever bait you're using. For my ray fishing, for instance, I just use it 3 or 4 inches long, same as a sand eel really. Hounds I tend to go probably about 1 inch long for the baits. I only use smaller baits for the hounds. Right, so where I've done that, the last knot, the double knot there, pull that nice and tight. I just cut that above the knot, and that is basically your dongle. To actually attach it to the hook, what I do, I just use my nail and I just flatten the braid slightly, and then I get the hook and put it through the braid underneath the knot. I don't know if you'll be able to pick that up on the video very well. But I put it through the braid underneath the knot, pull that so it goes over the barb of the hook, and that is it really. That is the finished result. So what I'll do now, I will show you how I bait up the dongle. Right, so the way I bait up the dongle, just in this case I've just taken a fillet off a mackerel. I go ahead and cut just a little tip off of the fillet, and then I hold my hook and my dongle up against the actual bait, and then I cut it off so it's above the knot of where the loop is to your bait clip. So I could go ahead and cut that. If I just cut it, just slice it down the middle. For baiting up, I tend to use a knitting needle. I find they do work very well for baiting up, just hold the bait straight. I go ahead and thread the bait onto the knitting needle. Then I get my elastic. I don't really go too crazy with my elastic on any of my baits. So what I do, I just put a little bit more around the tip, you'll see why now, but I just go quite a lot around the tip there. And then I pull that off slightly, and I grab my circled hook and I put that through where the elastic was. So I find having a lot of elastic just toughens the tip of it up a little bit, just to hold it onto the hook. And I thread that all the way along, and then I lay the dongle against the bait then, so you can put a bit of squid along that as well. And I go ahead then and elasticate the dongle to the mackerel just to hold it in place, and then I get the squid, lay it along the actual dongle, covering it up, and then just, as you do with any other bait presentation, then just elasticate that going up. Slide that off, and there you have it. That's the finished result. Baited up dongle, ready to put out there. So when that fish comes along, it just picks up the bait. And what you'll find a lot of time, if you do get a bite, don't be too rushed with actually picking the rod up to strike it. It's always worth giving it a bit of extra time just to make sure that the fish does take in the whole bait into its mouth, including the hook, And when you do actually go to strike, don't reel down and give a good strike into the fish. It's good to just reel down so they feel the weight of the fish, then slowly lift up into it, just to ensure that circled hook does do its job to curl round into the corner of the mouth. Right, so that is it. Right, so there we have it. There's the finished result. Nice, there we are. There's our baited up dongle rig, the circled hook ready to put out there. I hope you found this video helpful. If you do have any other questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. I will be doing more videos of rig building and demos of different stuff soon. So there we are, dongle rig. Go give it a go. Thanks for watching.